We don't think that there's anything wrong with us. Why would there be? This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
Oh, Anthony, one of our favorite topics here, I think one of your favorite topics, frankly, is animal intelligence.
Yes.
We've done a number of stories over the years on various facets of how we, as top of the food chain, old primo humanos, as they call us.
That's Latin.
A scientific term.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We often, really underestimate the intelligence of all the other animals on Earth.
It's true. We like to feel superior. And listen,
we do.
Here's the thing that's weird about it. We are superior. We don't need anything to make us feel superior. Like, as far as Earth goes, we're it.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
we're screwing up this planet all by ourselves, baby.
We are doing it and doing it and doing it well. And that's what LL Cool J was talking about in the song, was rising up the food chain. But even though we're at the top, we still, for some reason, need to minimize the intelligence of every other living thing on Earth. And I don't know why. We just still need it.
It's to feel that when we horribly mistreat them, destroy their natural environments, eat them, ruin their lives in myriad ways.
Sure.
We can feel fine about it because they're dumb. They're so dumb.
They're so dumb. Listen, or you can just do what I've done. Giga Chad enlightened man over here. Just simply be aware of the fact that you're a murderer on the daily, and it's just what you got to do. Listen,
that's called Tuesday. That's what that's called.
Baby, listen, that chicken. Well, here's the thing. Chickens are dumb.
Yeah.
Chickens are actually extremely dumb. Chickens and fish are pretty dumb. And so I feel the least guilty about, okay, here we go. Least guilty animals to eat. Number 1, chickens.
Yeah. I mean, we horribly mistreat them, though. They live a life of anguish before we eat
They
them.
really do. But here's the thing. Have you ever seen a chicken living its best life? They're just dumb and mean.
Yeah.
They truly are. A chicken living its best life is like, and here's the thing. We do mistreat chickens, and I feel bad about it. There's no animal that I do not feel bad about eating. But from order of least guilt to most, chicken is definitely down at the bottom. I feel worse about eating a fish than I do about eating a chicken.
Because they're beautiful?
Because they're beautiful and majestic, and they have a lot of social intelligence. And they're not, they might be mean, but they're not mean in a place that's visible to me.
Whereas chickens you're running into all the time,
buddy,
just out in the wild.
Let me tell you something. When I lived in like the Los Feliz Silver Lake area, oh my God, there are so many hipsters there that just love to have chickens.
People, like a thing. They're egg farmers.
San Francisco, people love to have chickens. I don't know, like it's a thing. It's a specific type of thing. But I think it's chicken, fish. After that, probably a cow. After that, pig. And the pig is not because I think the pig is smarter or more empathetic than the cow. It's just residual religious guilt from my grandparents having survived the Holocaust. And so it's just like, should I really be eating pig if I don't even enjoy the meat of pig that much? It feels like it's the least I could do.
I feel like, ironically, you're also putting them in the order of deliciousness. I think.
Do you think pig is most delicious over cow?
Oh, yes. 100. I mean, I don't really eat cow anymore, and I haven't for a long time. But pig is the most delicious animal.
Really?
What's more delicious than a pig? Bacon, ribs, sausage.
See, I'm not a ribs guy. I'm not a bacon. I'm not I'll have bacon, but I'm not like.
Oh, dude. Most delicious animal, hands down.
Really?
Hands down. I mean, I love sushi. I love fish. But if you're talking like pure deliciousness, it's pig.
See, I think I would rather have like a salmon fillet than like a pork chop. You know?
Oh. I mean, I oftentimes would prefer having a salmon fillet too, but not because it tastes better, not because it's more mouth delight. There's more mouth delight in a pork chop than
mouth delight.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, you feel worse after you eat it. but
Sure.
that doesn't change how delicious it is.
No, I think for me, mouth delight definitely goes more towards the seafood area.
I think you are objectively wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. And, but I guess the point that we're getting at is that all of these things have thoughts and feelings, and that I do feel a little guilty about every animal I eat.
Well, we got a new story this week, not necessarily about animals we eat, but certainly about how smart animals may be or how intelligent. Smart and intelligent, not necessarily synonyms in this case.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a new article that our friend Spielberg Newfer pointed us to on the Discord. You can
a prodigious talent.
Unbelievable. We should have like a Hall of Fame. The top 2 or 3, I think Spielberg would be in there. There's the submitters of stories over the entire story history of our podcast. Top 3, I would say.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a new study that was published in the journal Nature, which of course is the journal all about the thing we're destroying as a species. And this is about language specifically in this case, chimpanzees.
Oh no, chimpanzees are the most delicious.
I haven't tried it. I have to be honest.
Oh, the mouth delight of eating a chimpanzee. The best time to eat a chimpanzee, Jeff, is after it wins a baseball game for a downtrodden team.
Yeah.
Or helps a tough guy catch some criminals.
What about after it goes on like a cross-country trip with a lot of shenanigans?
Yeah, I mean, you can taste the shenanigans. You can really taste the shenanigans in a chimp, or if 3 of them wear a coat and a hat and sneak into an event, and you can get all 3 on a skewer. Oh, the mouth delight of eating a chimpanzee! I'll tell you, bud.
I gotta try the restaurants you go to.
It's good.
Yeah. Anyway, we know a lot, obviously, about language and how language not how it evolved, but how it currently is constituted in human beings, and particularly syntax as it relates to meaning. Now, there are a couple of different kinds of. Well, let me start even in a different place.
Okay.
We know that there are sounds that certain animals.
I will agree that there are sounds.
Yes, there are sounds. Let's start there.
I'm with you.
There are sounds.
We're starting from a place of agreement, and that's how I know that you're an excellent, excellent negotiator.
Yeah, there we go.
You would agree that there are sounds. Yes, I would.
All right. Now come out of that building with your hands up.
Absolutely not. I want 3 chimpanzee steaks and a helicopter out of here.
Amazing. Animals, a variety of animals in the animal kingdom make sounds, distinctive sounds that you might even refer to as a certain kind of word, right? Mm-hmm. A sound that corresponds to a feeling, a sound that corresponds to wanting to do something. We've witnessed that in birds. We've witnessed that in primates. But it's another thing entirely to argue that they have syntax, that they have, rudimentary sentences where putting words together can create different meanings than the words or the sounds independent of other sounds, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And there are this article or this study in Nature talks about 2 types of syntax. There's combinatorial syntax, which is the combination of 2 independent words that add up to more than the sum of their parts. So the example used here is cry wolf, right? The word cry has a meaning. The word wolf has a meaning. But when you say cry wolf, it has a completely new meaning that doesn't have anything to do with the meaning of cry or the meaning of wolf.
Right. Gotcha.
Right? Whereas a compositional syntax it has something that's more directly derived from the meaning of those words. Something like, be careful with the wolf. Careful with the wolf.
Yeah. That's my Fabergé wolf. Be careful with it.
Exactly. That's the direct meaning. Careful and wolf, the direct meaning of those words add up to give you the meaning of that sentence, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So the idea here is there's been a number of studies with certain kinds of primates and certain kinds of birds, but this study tried to isolate a specific number of sounds that have been combined, that have been observed to be combined in chimpanzees for a specific meaning, and to see if they could isolate that and define it.
They were mostly talking about baseball.
They were talking about avoiding that one restaurant.
It's a delicious restaurant.
Have you seen the menu, they said.
Yeah.
The other one said, you're just crying wolf. Anyway, so chimpanzees produce, there's two specific sounds that these researchers isolated in chimpanzees. They designate them in this paper as alarm hoos, which is the word alarm and then dash HUUS. So alarm hoos.
Okay.
Which is something that they create when they're frightened or surprised.
Or if they see, or like if they see a pretty lady chimpanzee in a red dress, they go like "Auga,
alarm, ooh,
auga." Those are the two noises that they broke it up into. They broke it up into augas and
And unfortunately, they only studied cartoon chimpanzees,
right?
Which seems like a flaw in the experiment, but you got
to start with a small data set and then extrapolate out. I mean, like, look, and then when you put them together contextually, like an auga can happen when it sees like anything exciting, and then like that could be like it could have been hit with a giant mallet,
right?
When you don't
put
know
them together, it definitely means a pretty lady just walked by.
Absolutely.
Yes. So they talk about these alarm hoos as examples of when this would happen is earth tremors, snakes, seeing a dead monkey. And then the last one is hilarious. A researcher's waterproof cloak, which that alone needs its own paper. Like, what is that about?
Auga.
When the monkey sees my waterproof cloak.
Now,
which what are these researchers getting waterproof cloaks?
Yeah, I gotta drill down into that because it's not a researcher that was wearing a poncho. It's not a researcher that was wearing a rain slicker or a jacket or a vest. This was a researcher that was wearing a fucking cloak. like a waterproof cloak. Like Namor's nemesis.
Yes.
Like a cloak, Jeffrey.
I'm as shocked as you. In fact, I would probably enlist an alarm who, if I saw a waterproof cloak, I'd be like, what is that?
Because we gotta talk about like a cloak.
Yeah. That's a cloak. You just pulled up a picture of a cloak.
A cloak is like literally das Vampir. or like a wizard or something. Yeah. Why was this researcher in a cloak? I mean, I think of a big hood that hides like the top half of your head at least. Yeah. And then like a giant floor length cape that wraps around you. And so like when you and the rest of the tribunal make a decision, nobody knows who has doomed them.
Yes. Or if you're perhaps in the alley in 18th century London and you want to murder some passerby, you would, of course, be wearing a cloak.
Why was this researcher wearing not just a cloak, but a waterproof cloak?
Well, I mean, if I'm going to wear a cloak, I'm not going to want to get it soiled.
If I was a chimp, you don't need to be so smart to throw up the alarm hoo if you see a dark wizard coming at you.
Well, that's what I think is a sign of intelligence here. They're like earth tremors, snakes, dead monkeys, potential wizard battle. Like I'm going to freak out.
Oh no, a warlock is approaching.
Yeah.
Now this is how we know that we're smarter than chimpanzees. Is they use the same surprised word for like an earth tremor and a dark wizard. And we're smart enough to know the difference. And we're also smart enough to know when the tremor was caused by a dark wizard.
Yes.
Which is why we're at the top of the food chain, as LL Cool J was talking about.
You can't just scream, "Oh my God, a wizard." You got to say elemental wizard, probably earth type.
Right. And then you're like, well, if it's casting tremor, what's the area of effect? Is it a cone? Is it a disc?
That's right. That's why there's all these dead monkeys around.
So, okay, so an alarm who is like...
Alarm who, first sound. Second sound, they call the wah bark. W-A-A-B-A-R-K. Wah bark. This is produced, they say, in a range of social and ecological contexts, such as hunting, predator encounters, and inter-community encounters and aggression. Basically, it's a recruiting sound. It's like, hey, guys, over here. Or like,
So
Gary
alarm who,
and Phil are going to fight.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
The alarm who is the whoa, and then the wah bark is the check this out.
Exactly. It's get over here immediately. This is amazing. And the other one is, danger, danger.
Yeah.
So they have observed in very rare instances a combination of the alarm who and the wah bark. They call it the AHWB structure. Alarm who, wah bark.
Okay. They're really trying to make alarm who and wah bark happen.
Oh, dude, this entire paper is awash in alarm who's and wah barks, baby.
They're making it happen. They're just like
AHWB, baby.
They're forcing their slang upon all of us. Okay. I see what you're doing.
They noticed that these two sounds come in combination, are created by the chimpanzees in combination when they see a snake. Oftentimes when they see a snake, it's, oh my gosh, snake, get over here, you guys.
Yeah.
So they decided what they were going to do is they said, we hypothesized that this call combination might function as a recruitment signal in particularly dangerous situations.
Okay, that's a pretty solid hypothesis, I think.
Yeah, and they say this may represent a syntactic structure, right? So you have these independent words that combined convey more meaning than them individually. So I think you can guess how we decided to test this theory, Anthony.
We sent the wizards after the chimpanzees, and we caused the chimpanzee wizard war. Oh my God. 2008 internet will be so happy. It's so random XD. They'll love it. If we could get pirates and ninjas to fight, 2008 internet would be so happy with us. We've already gotten chimpanzees and wizards.
Do you remember how simple it was back then?
Oh my God.
All we wanted was ninjas and pirates to fight. We didn't care about anything else on the internet. That's all it was.
Yeah.
God,
This was pre-bacon internet even, when the internet ruined bacon for everyone.
Beautiful.
Maybe that's why I don't think pig is particularly delicious now, is because of the deification of bacon in the 2010s by the internet, where it's just like bacon is my personality.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I don't like
guys. What were those guys on Revision 3 that did that whole thing about it?
Jesus,
those guys?
Wait, was that you?
No, that wasn't us. No.
Wait.
It was those other guys. What do they call them? What are those guys called?
Dorks?
I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
Dorks, because we were the cool guys at Revision 3. High five.
High five. 2008. Anyway, so what they did, you were correct, except they just couldn't afford all those waterproof cloaks. It's very expensive for waterproof cloaks these days.
But we decided we were going to scare chimpanzees.
We're going to scare the living shit out of some chimpanzees and see what sounds they make.
Hey.
So, of course, they decided to show the chimpanzee snakes. We're going to show them snakes.
Just
see what happens. Yeah.
Just snakes?
Snakes. Because we noticed that they say these things when they saw a snake. That was observed 2 times in 18 months. And hey, both the times when we saw a chimpanzee see a snake, they made those 2 sounds back to back. What if we just showed them, we got a bunch of chimpanzees, we showed them a shit ton of snakes. Would they say that sound all the time? Is that sound significant?
What if we walked up to the chimpanzees and we said, hey, chimpanzees, you want to see a dead body?
Yeah.
And then we went on a soul-searching trip with the chimpanzees to find this dead body, and we learned a lot about ourselves and life along the way.
Yeah. Just walking along the railroad tracks, talking about stuff.
Yeah.
That really scary part where the chimpanzee gets a leech on its penis.
Yeah. And then when we're talking about what happened to us later on, one of the chimps had to go to Vietnam.
Yeah.
So we decide that we're going to scare chimps with snakes. This is a dope research assistant position.
Dope.
This is a good, like, if you're an intern, this is like kind of a fun internship. Like, depending on whether you think pranks are good and funny or you think pranks are hurtful, this could be a very good internship for you. If you're at the cross section of like Jackass and science, this is like
I think that Venn diagram is much larger than we think.
I would love to think so. I would absolutely love to think so.
You have hit the nail on the head, because let me read to you directly from the published study under the heading methods. You know, and any good scientific study will tell you the exact
methods. It says, fuck them up, we did. Methods, we're going to fuck these chimps right up.
Yeah, no. Intention, to fuck these chimps up. Methods, we fucked them up.
Results, some fucked up chimps.
They got fucked up.
Grant money, please.
So what they did, Anthony, was they're not going to mess around with real snakes here. This is science. We're not going to, there's too many variables with the real snakes. And one of those variables might be experimenter gets bitten. So they got themselves a Ugandan python skin, because they're doing this study in Uganda. So they got themselves a python skin. They stuffed that python skin. This is a real living, or formerly a dead python's actual skin. Stuffed it, put a piece of fishing line, put a fishing line in it, and hid in the bushes. So let me read you the exact wording from the methods section of the study, which is so rad. Here goes. When a chimpanzee started traveling, one experimenter followed the individual while another experimenter moved ahead of this individual and hid the snake model under leaves and branches on its anticipated path. The second experimenter then moved away from this location and concealed themselves from the arriving chimpanzee. When the subject approached the location of the snake model, the second experimenter pulled the string attached to the snake model, causing its immediate detection by the subject. First experimenter then monitored the reaction of the subject.
They literally said, yo, check it out. I'm going to hide behind this tree. I'm going to scare the shit out of Bobo. Watch, you hide over there. Check out what happens when I scream. He's going to be so freaked out. It's going to be so funny. He's going to be so scared. Bobo's just walking in his baseball uniform on his way to his game.
Just ready to hop on the shoulders of two other.
There's nothing in the rules that says he can't play baseball.
Right.
And he's got an arm. Whew, the arm on this chimp. And he's just walking. He's ready. He's trying to get into game readiness.
Yeah.
He's trying to get into his mental state there where he psychs himself up before the game. He's trying to get in the zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then out come fucking Dr. Stevens and Dr. Harrelson, the self-described prank kings of Uganda. Nobody else calls them that. And they just jump out with a fucking dead snake and scream at Bobo. And then Bobo's thrown off and they lose the game. And they think they're so funny.
But you know what? Ironically, the owner of the team wanted to lose. Like, that was the whole thing. They were trying to lose the whole season.
Right. No, but that's the thing is the players, once they found out that Bobo had the heart of a champion and a love of the game. And
a fear of snakes.
And a fear of snakes. It registered a couple things in their own minds where they said, hey, maybe we don't need to worry about the business. Maybe we don't need to worry about the fact that we've got an owner that's trying to lose and sell this team.
Yeah.
The Ugandan surprise snakes. The number they used
an ironic mascot, it turns out.
Yeah. And they said when they saw this chimp with a love of the game and an ability to play, at first they were insulted. And then they said, hey, have I forgotten love of the game? And then when they stopped worrying, they started winning nonstop because it was about love of the game, Jeff.
Love of the game was in them the whole time. And it only took a small chimpanzee with an arm like a rocket and a flavor like the most delicious thing you've ever had.
And that's what this paper is about. That's what this paper is about. It's about finding love of the game again. I forgot what this paper is about.
Yeah. No, you did.
Okay.
But let me remind you. So
what happened when they seized the snake?
They wiggle waggle the snake. They pull the fishing line. Snake wiggle waggles. And let me just tell you, my friend, the chimpanzees freaked the fuck out.
Every time?
No, not every time. 47% of the time, so just under half, 10 out of 21 times, the chimpanzee said the combination, the syntactic combination of alarm who and wah bark.
So we're actually testing, if you think about it, Jeff, we're testing the language intelligence of the dumbest of the chimpanzee population, because over half of this chimpanzee population did not fall for a dumb stuffed snake on a string. They simply looked at it and they were like, fucking Dr. Stevens and Dr. Harrelson again, the fucking prank kings of Uganda. Get wrecked, you idiots. Come on out. And then the other half, the dumb half, they were the ones that responded to the stimulus. So we can assume that however smart and however strong their ability to put together syntactical combinations, this is the dumbest segment of the chimpanzee population. So they're actually probably better at language than this.
That's maybe true. That's a good inference. I got the numbers slightly wrong. I want to correct myself. All
of them were scared. They're all dumb.
No, it's actually fewer. 9 out of 21 trials, 43%. The alarm who and wah bark sequence was produced by the subject within the first 2 minutes after discovering the snake. So 9 out of 21. In the remaining trials, the 12 remaining ones, alarm whoos were produced, but not wah barks. So the other ones were scared. They just didn't call anybody else.
Yeah, they were just like, whoa. And then they were like, fucking come on, you guys.
You got me.
You got me.
You got me. I'm not calling anybody else over here.
The prank kings of Uganda strike again. All right.
But the alarm who wah bark callers did get people to join them.
That's also the rival team of the Ugandan surprise snakes.
The joiners.
The alarm who wah bark callers.
It's a hard to fit on a jersey, but they figured it out.
They do it.
So 47% of the trials, 10 out of 21, that's where I got that 47 number. Individuals joined the subject, and in 90% of which they were accompanied by the production of the call combination 2. So basically, 10 out of 21 times, people came over and were like, what's going on? And when they came over, they said it too. They're like, oh shit, it is a snake. Everybody else get over here.
What were they going to do?
Well, this is the theory of the researchers, is that it seems kind of counterintuitive if you encounter a predator, something that's going to kill you. You know, snakes kill chimpanzees. That's how it works.
That's what they do. That's what they were born to do. You ask any snake.
They were born to do. And it's not their fault. It's because chimpanzees are so delicious.
They're delicious. They got, you know what the most delicious part of the chimpanzee is? The throwing arm.
Oh yeah. Because you can taste the victory.
Yeah. It's well muscled.
It's all muscle. Have you ever seen a snake unhinge its jaw and swallow a chimpanzee whole?
I've seen a snake unhinge its jaw and swallow a pitcher. My dad took me to a Mets game when I was 7.
Pitcher of margaritas.
Hey-o.
If you've partied with a snake. Anyway, on Cinco de Mayo. Anyway, so they were like, it's kind of counterintuitive to think that they're going to call more people to the danger, right?
Right.
But what they observed was this is part of the identification and locationing of the danger. So they're saying, hey, there's a snake and it's right here. Nobody step on that. Okay.
And then everybody runs over and they're like, just so I know where to step on and where not to step on.
Exactly. There's snakes right there, everybody. We're not walking over near experimenter number 2 because there's a snake right next to him.
Yeah. Hey, experimenter number 2. Hey, Dr. Harrelson, get away. There's a snake. Dr. Harrelson's like, thanks, Bobo.
And also, stop giggling, Dr. Harrelson. Stop giggling.
This is a dangerous situation.
It's not. We alarm hooed and wall barked, bro. It's not laughing matter. Okay. So the problem with this is the researchers could not disentangle the notion of whether this combination of words specifically garnered that, because sometimes it would just be the hey danger, right? But what they never got was just the hey get over here. Sometimes they got hey danger, get over here, and sometimes they just got hey danger, but they never just got hey get over here. So they weren't sure if it was the syntactic combination of those two sounds that caused it, or if it was literally just the second sound that sometimes didn't happen, right?
Oh, so yeah. So just like we were talking about cry wolf or something like that, we're wondering if that second sound means what we think it means.
Exactly. Or if it has nothing to do with a sentence structure. It's literally just the second sound does all the work.
Right.
So in order to test that theory,
they got
decided
a bigger fake snake.
Well, actually, they do talk about how they wanted to make sure it wasn't just the python skin that was scaring the snakes, and so they 3D printed a viper to test that too.
Okay, and how'd that go?
It's samesies. It was pretty much the same. Anyway, they wanted to isolate variables.
Somebody just wanted to 3D print a viper.
Yeah, some guy's like, I invested so much in that 3D printer, and I
never
brought it all the
use
way
it.
to Uganda.
I thought we were going to use it all the time. I thought I'm going to buy a 3D printer, and I'm constantly going to be printing stuff for like around the house and like for fixing things and things we need. And I never use it. Let me print a viper.
I found a sick viper model online, a mesh. Come on.
I found it on Thingiverse.
Anyway, so
do you have a 3D printer? I'm sorry, this is a digression.
I do not.
I don't either. I've thought about it.
Often thought about it. Yes,
I think about it all the time, and I'm just like, I don't think I'll use it.
I'll be just like that scientist that I think I'll use it, and then it'll just sit in the corner.
I've made, I make a lot of deals and compromises with myself, Jeff, to stop my impulsive behavior. And one of them is if I ever have a list of like 10 things that I'm genuinely going to 3D print, I will order a 3D printer.
How big is your list so far?
Never anything. It's always like dumb shit. It's always like, if I had a 3D printer, I'd print out a master sword. It's like, okay, but you don't need or want a master sword.
Right.
You just like the idea that you could print one.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are the things you need? And like, I'll try, man. It'll be a stretch. It's like, you can print this thing that like, it's a key holder for your door. And it's like, well, I have one of those.
Right.
It's called a peg. I put a peg on my door and I hang my keys on it. Like I'm really looking for reasons.
Doesn't look like the master sword.
No, it's definitely when you have, it's a situation of like when you have a hammer, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm looking for things to 3D print.
100%.
But if I was running a study where I needed a viper, I think it would make sense.
Maybe you got to sign up for this study just to get that.
I'd love to just fuck up some chimps. I'd love to just scare the hell out of some chimps, if I'm honest. For science, I think that'd be great.
Run ahead. Just see Bobo coming down the thing like, oh, he's going down the path. Run ahead, hide under the leaves, and slowly tug on the fake snake through the leaves and just see what happens.
Do you know what job I want for science? I want to be the guy on TikTok, the magician on TikTok that does magic tricks for animals. And then post the videos of like, these dumb animals don't understand magic. Look at how.
Don't you think at a certain point, an animal's going to be so freaked out that you're a warlock that's just going to rip your face off?
Yes.
It'll
and
be
I
like,
do wait
is
for
this
that.
your card? Yes. No more face for you. Stop messing with physics.
Yeah, I do kind of wait quite a lot for the one where like you make the ball disappear for the dog and the dog just fucking takes a swipe at you.
Yeah, just loses it.
Or just like bites you because it's like, you took my ball. Or like you're when you're doing it for like
ball and it's not supposed to work that way. You're clearly someone I need to take down in order to survive.
Yeah. Or like doing it for like a gorilla. Like the ones that I really love are the people that are doing it for a gorilla. And I'm just like, that gorilla could beat you to death with your own arm right now. Do not agitate that gorilla. Chimps too, man. You're really messing. Let me tell you something.
Huh.
They're really messing. They're messing with the wrong animal, because if these chimps ever find out that it's them just wiggling a fucking fake, they are going to wreck shop on those scientists. A chimp could tear a man apart.
You scared me so many times with that fake snake, you motherfucker.
Funny guy. Why you hitting yourself? Why you hitting yourself?
With your own arm.
With your own shoulder.
With the stump of your own arm.
Yeah.
Anyway, in order to isolate this and further figure out if they really are creating sentences here, they decided to do recordings or playback recordings to a group of chimpanzees. They recorded while that dude was crouched in the leaves with his fake snake. They also set up a Sennheiser. They talk about exactly the equipment they use. It's pretty cool. They had a Sennheiser recording the sounds that they made. And so they played back the
did they get a Shure SM7B and some good and some Sony MDX headphones? Did they go to the podcaster's guide and they were like, what do we need?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They saw that one episode of Joe Rogan where he talks about his setup, and they just bought that,
Yeah. They got that Elgato arm that goes low to the ground for your mic. That way they can't see it. They can't see it over the snake.
So they recorded the alarm who and wah barks, and then they isolated each of those sounds, and they played them to groups of chimpanzees to find out what responses they would get.
And the chimpanzees were like, are you making fun of us?
Yeah. And the answer is yes. Constantly making fun of them. Unwise.
Yeah. They will rip your arm off.
They will eat your face. What they found was that the combination alarm hoo wah bark elicited more response from the chimpanzees than either one of those sounds by itself. So even just the wah bark by itself didn't get chimpanzees to come running, or in this case, they basically just stared at the source of the signal or got their attention and got them alarmed.
So got
them to repeat sounds.
Yeah. So it is the whole phrase.
Well, it's even better than that. The combination of the phrase was more response than either one individually.
Yeah.
And also more than both of them combined. The sum of either. So the individual responses of each sound added up weren't as much as the two sounds put together.
Right. So there is something about the phrase itself.
Yes. Yes. They're creating a sentence, creating two sounds that are greater than the sum of their parts. Literally, the data suggests that it is greater than the sum of its parts.
Wow.
Pretty awesome.
That's really cool. So have they noticed? So now that they know that there are these like compositional structures. This is like something that, number one, is not innately human, which is cool.
Right.
And then number two, now that they've noticed that this is a real thing among chimps, have they noticed it like in other situations or other combinations or anything like that?
Well, they want to do more studies on different primates, but they've also noticed it in birds. In fact, my favorite sentence of this entire article is when they talk about that. I got to find it here because I don't want to say it wrong because you'll get mad at me. You know what? You're going to get mad at me either way, but it's still my favorite sentence. Where is it? You'd think I would have.
Yeah, you'd think if it was your favorite sentence, you would have like.
It's a very long article.
Yeah. Is it? This article on Boing Boing,
no,
is it very long?
I sent you. Here it is. Found it. I'm on nature.com, the actual study.
Okay.
Which is very long. They said, it's also appears in birds. For instance, both pied babblers and Japanese tits have been shown to combine an alarm call and a recruitment call.
Pied babblers and Japanese tits, you say?
Yeah. You would think maybe just the Japanese tits would do it, but it turns out
would you think that,
babblers. Jeff? I've observed a lot of Japanese tits in my time.
Have you?
Well, Online, mostly.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm mad at you. You're right. I'm actually very mad at you.
They're beautiful birds. They're beautiful birds.
I have never heard of a pied babbler.
I have never heard of either of those, Anthony. Those the fact that they just drop it in here like we're supposed to know that those are birds.
Pied babbler just looks like bird.
There you go. Now Google the other one.
No, I'm not. I'm actually, for some reason, I've decided that we're not going to Google Japanese tits on the show. And I am mad at you.
There is part of me that thinks this entire study was just a reason for them to put that in.
They're not you. But
me.
Wait a minute. Actually, if we're talking about Stevens and Harrelson, the prank kings of Uganda.
The prank kings of Uganda.
It's entirely possible this whole thing was to get me to Google Japanese tits on the show.
Yeah.
Listen, I hate saying this. I genuinely hate saying this, Jeff.
Yeah.
But Japanese tits are adorable.
Oh, look at them.
I just looked up a Japanese tit, and it is an adorable little bird.
It's amazing what you can get when you have Safe Search on.
Well, I made sure to put bird in it.
Yeah.
Just in case.
They are adorable. Look at them.
Look at their adorable little birds.
And they stand in the most spectacular trees.
Yeah. They're just like these little white poof balls of birds when they're babies, apparently. They look like, the headline says, these adorable birds found in Japan look like fluffy pieces of cotton. And so if you imagine this like adorable little white poof ball with a long, straight tail feather, just among the cherry blossoms and the Japanese maples, and it just looks very adorable.
Yeah.
So you heard it here. Jeff got his way. I said that Japanese tits are adorable on the show. Jeff is now, he has unseated the prank kings of Uganda, and now he is the new prank king of Uganda.
Woohoo! You know, you set a goal and you're not really sure you can achieve it. And then sometimes.
What are the pied babblers and the Japanese tits saying, Jeff?
Well, this article doesn't focus on them, but it just says that we have observed similar things when they see, that they will combine the, hey, this is danger and everybody get over here sounds together.
Okay.
So this is something that happens across the animal kingdom to a certain extent, right? Not every animal, obviously, but this is not something that's unique to humans. And it does seem to indicate, at least in these chimpanzees, and one could infer that this is, you could extrapolate this into thinking that this is common in other observed animals. They are actually creating a sentence structure. They're actually creating something that conveys a meaning that is different than its component parts.
I love that.
Which to me is incredible. That's sophisticated. That shows intelligence. It shows a level of community and shared. It's language. It's language, dude.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. This is wonderful. This is such a cool study.
I agree.
Well, thank you so much to Spielberg Neufer for sending this in. If you want to send a story in, the best way to do it is to hit us up over on our Discord. And if you want access to that, you can head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. You can also email us stories at wehaveconcernshow@gmail.com. There's a subreddit and you can tweet at us, but let me tell you something. I don't know if we ever see those. And but if you want access to that Discord, you want to know a little bit more about the Patreon, here's what we'll tell you. $1 a month gets you access to the Discord.
Single shiny US dollar. It's all it takes to be part of that conversation, to be part of the language of our community. But for a little bit more to support the show, make sure we continue. Get you a little bit more. You can have extra bonus episodes, bonus audio, the beginnings of the episode that you only hear the end of when you tune in. You get those. It's like a whole nother episode. Bonus chats and Q&As. It's fun.
Yeah. So you can check out how to do all of that on patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.